Donald Trump sat down for his first interview since the end of his campaign this morning with Kristen Welker on MSNBC, and it went exactly like all of Donald Trump's interviews during the campaign. It was a complete disaster. He was out of control, showing how unfit he is and the reason why many millions of Americans are realizing they made a mistake in casting a vote for Donald Trump. Specifically because he got caught in two lies in particular he was telling on the campaign trail about his economic plan and his immigration plan. And then he lost it, completely out of control and angry that he was getting pushback, and Kristen Welker was actually doing her job. And we are going to get into all of that, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this interview with Donald Trump and Kristen Welker.
I began the interview with one of the top issues for voters, the economy and the cost of living. I want to delve into one of your signature promises on the campaign trail, which was to end inflation, to lower prices. You are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation. In fact, when I handed it over, they didn't have inflation for a year and a half. They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too much. So I think I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your first administration cost Americans some $80 billion. And now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone, saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us. They also solve another problem. If we were going to have problems having to do with wars and having to do with other things, tariffs, I have stopped wars with tariffs by saying, you guys want to fight, it's great, but both of you are going to pay tariffs to the United States at 100%. And they have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman. I say properly used. But it didn't cost this country anything. It made this country money. And we never really got the chance to go all out because we had to fight COVID in the last part. And we did it very successfully. And when I handed it over to Biden, the stock market was higher than what it was just previous to COVID coming in. It was actually higher. Tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Are you actually going to impose these tariffs, or are they a negotiating tactic?
Well, I'll give you an example. With Canada, and in particular Mexico, we have millions of people pouring into our country. You agree with that. I spoke with both. I spoke with Justin Trudeau. In fact, he flew to Mar-a-Lago within about 15 seconds after the call ended. He was at Mar-a-Lago. We were having dinner talking about it. I said, you have to close up your borders because they're coming in the northern border, too, a lot. Not like the southern border, but they're coming in the Canadian border a lot. And drugs are pouring in. Almost as importantly, drugs are pouring in, maybe more importantly, drugs are pouring in at levels never seen before, 10 times what we had. They're just pouring in. We can't have open borders. And I said to the president of Mexico and to Justin Trudeau, If it doesn't stop, I'm going to put tariffs on your country at about 25%.
After promising for months and months and months, saying that tariffs were the greatest word in the world and that they would solve all of our problems, Donald Trump now can't guarantee that they will. He doesn't know. How could he? It's impossible to tell. Except you said the opposite. You promised the opposite, and it's the reason why so many Americans are regretting their vote. A vote that we tried to warn them about. A vote that will ultimately raise the prices that they were so concerned about, because Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. We already saw these trade wars tried and failed by Donald Trump during his first presidency, and it's the reason he gets so mad when he gets pushback on them. And it's also the reason he got so mad when he got pushback about a claim that he made about birthright citizenship that Kristen Welker pushed back on right here.
Citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
We're the only country that has it. Do you know, if somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need two, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action. I was going to do it through
Really? An end to birthright citizenship? And he says he can just do it. I know he suggests maybe we'll send it back to the states and we'll ratify. That's not happening. So Donald Trump is clearly insinuating, as he has always believed, that he's above the Constitution and that he can do whatever he wants. He can legislate if he wants from the executive branch. Donald Trump thinks he has completely unchecked power to do anything that comes to his mind at any time, and he thinks people will support him. And that's why I've been so big in pushing back on this message that Donald Trump somehow won in a landslide. Of course, he did win this election by a considerably larger margin than most people would have expected, winning all 7 swing states. But the Electoral College disproportionately represents a bigger win to Donald Trump than the popular vote did, where Donald Trump's margin shrinks every single day. And so if we're looking at that vote, no, an overwhelming majority, because it wasn't even a majority of people, wanted Donald Trump to go crazy. They don't, because he's insane. And it's not just in his tariff policy where Donald Trump is going to raise prices and hurt working people. It's also in the delegation he's doing to Elon Musk and DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which Jasmine Crockett called out so perfectly right here.
As you know, your colleague, Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, will face off against Jerry Connolly to lead you and other Democrats on the Oversight Committee.
Yeah.
Who do you want as the top Democrat on this critically important panel?
Well, I'm not here to endorse anyone, but what I will tell you is that both of these persons are amazing. We have such a close-knit team when it comes to the Oversight Committee. That is why when you think about this year and when you think about kind of some of the biggest stories and the most viral moments, it's actually come out of oversight. It is because we are like a family. And I can tell you, whether it's AOC or whether it's Connolly that ends up winning that seat, I can tell you that we will be ready and we will be working together and we will have a strong, fierce leader.
As you correctly point out, the Oversight Committee is a really important, powerful committee that oversees so much of the government. In his first post-election speech, the former President Barack Obama is calling on Democrats to engage with those they disagree with and look for ways to compromise. Listen and watch this.
Pluralism is not about holding hands and singing Kumbaya. It is not about abandoning your convictions. It is about recognizing that in a democracy, power comes from forging alliances and building coalitions and making room in those coalitions, not only for the woke, but also for the waking. Purity tests are not a recipe for long-term success.
Do you think this is a roadmap that Democrats like you can follow?
I think that it takes two to tango. That's what I think. And so, you know, here's the reality. There are some of what I would consider to be the real Republicans that are left. And any governing that we've seen out of the 118th Congress, it has come because it has had to be those real Republicans that have decided, you know what, we will talk to the Democrats and we will get to a place in which we are governing for the American people. If the real Republicans in the building want to stand up and want to work, then absolutely. But I can tell you that MAGA has consistently been trying to tear down our institution. First, it was physically when it came to January 6th. And then when we look at the things that they're talking about things such as getting rid of Social Security now. They want to tear us apart from within. They want to get rid of government. When you have Vivek Ramaswamy, who is going to co-lead DOGE, talking about getting rid of 70% of the people that work for the federal government, those are people that are trying to tear us apart. Anybody that wants to preserve this amazing institution and only make it better, I can tell you that any day of the week, the Democrats are ready to work.
Giving unchecked power to a billionaire to slash Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid and award himself, Elon Musk being the biggest government contractor in America, with even bigger government contracts while he deregulates all of his businesses. I don't know how that serves the working class. I don't know how that lowers prices to let Elon Musk run free and serve himself and other billionaires. But yeah, I guess that's what people voted for, unfortunately. And I guess they're realizing that, unfortunately for them. And I don't like the I told you so. I don't want people hurt by Donald Trump's policies, but hopefully we are starting to learn how dangerous they are, and we are going to continue to talk about them every single day on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, you can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.